ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on today's episode in the news, well, we don't really have any. It hasn't been a very newsworthy week the past week. No trailer talk this week, and the news streaming is also very light, so there's a few things coming, but not a lot. We'll get to what we're watching, of course, and then our main review for the episode is John Wick. But before we get to any of that, I'm joined today, of course, by the Willem Dafoe stan, Nathaniel Gingrich.
What up, folks? I stan William Dafoe. Willem.
Yes, you do. Willem?
Dafoe!
Whose comedy bit? Is it a comedy bit or a joke I just saw one time where it's just like Willem Dafoe's name sounds like a frog, where it's like Willem Dafoe?
Yeah, and then a parrot. It's a How I Met Your Mother joke. Jason Segel.
It is.
I love William Dafoe. Willem. And
It's not William.
No, it is Willem. Willem.
It is Willem. I've had to correct Tyler a few times on that.
Sorry.
William.
Willem.
Willem. But I think he's actually a classically trained actor, like a stage actor before he ever
I believe you were correct.
I believe that, yeah.
Film side of things. That's why he can do those big, long monologues, like in The Lighthouse. Yeah.
What a good movie.
Off the cuff. But anyways, Who else we got here in the squadron?
Of course, we're joined today as well by retired Tyler Vidalis.
Or am I out of retirement?
I don't know. You tell me. You're only 31, like soon to be 32, right?
Soon, yeah. 20 days.
Man. Feel old?
Kinda, some days.
When you guys planning on retiring? What's an ideal age for you?
Tomorrow.
Oh shit! Yeah, wish
As soon as possible.
Right. Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah.
But more logically, I look at it, it's like if I could be retired like by like 55, 50 would be fucking awesome.
Oh, that would be incredible.
That's like the logical answer in me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll get there, but that'd be cool.
My mom's retiring at the end of this year.
Congrats.
Oh, dope. Shout out, Miles.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. My mom retired in 2020, so she was 57, 58.
My mom's 59.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
My mom
looks awesome for what I can tell. Mom does nothing but text everybody else all day. There's nothing else to do.
I'm not gonna.
That's why she needs grandbabies.
Very true.
Not gonna shout out my mom's age, but she is older than both of those and still working. So go on, mom.
Go moms.
Go moms.
Rounding out the squadron, of course, it's Big Baba Yaga BlakeHolder.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
The Baba Yaga line in this movie might be one of like the best lines in film history. Like, I love it. I look forward to it the entire time.
Is it pedantic of me to get annoyed by the Baba Yaga like misgender, where the Baba Yaga is actually the witch that lives in the woods? Yeah.
I don't care.
Okay, fair enough.
So
it is pedantic.
I mean, we can get into it, but he does technically say like he's the one that you send to kill the Baba Yaga. So I know they call him that, but then they do kind of preferences. You know, you're right, pedantic, but yeah, no, I think that's a great line. I love it.
Anyways, Blake, all cut you off.
Oh yeah.
No, it's all good. I was just asking what's going on, fellas. Mental health check for the week. How's everybody feeling?
Man, what a week.
Yeah.
But we're getting through.
Yeah, it's Wednesday, right? It's hump day, so we've surmounted the mountain. That's how I'm looking at it. My week is all downhill from here. I'll say that's A-okay.
Okay.
I got back from vacation on Monday, so I'm still kind of, feeling that vibe. So
okay.
I'm
cool.
pretty good.
Not bad. Cool.
Yeah.
How was vacation?
Yeah, you were away at the at the cabin, right? If I remember
yeah, we were down south
celebrating his engagement.
It was good. And what'd you say to that?
I said celebrating that engagement.
A little bit. My sister's and like Alex, who I would assume someday is gonna be his sister. What's up, Alex? They did like a really cute little like thing for her. They got her like a little basket, and it had a coffee mug in there that was obviously rose gold, and
obviously
it said something, I can't remember the exact name, but it had something about doing having to do with her being a sister. And then they got her like a little makeup bag, and it said the one where you become our sister, and then it was friends. Like
sure.
It had like the sister had the dots in between it and was written in the font. So that was really cute. And then the last thing that like really kind of like got me a little bit is they got her a bracelet that just says Vidalis on it, and I was like, damn, that like hits. So but other than that, it was good, man. Had some good drinks and super good family time, and it was good.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Feeling recharged?
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
That place is like heaven, bro.
Yeah.
Facts.
I've heard so many stories. You always go there.
Yeah, it's been in the house, or it's been in the family since 90 when I was born is when my grandpa bought it. And it's just like a place where I basically like kind of grew up, and it's like the best memories I have as a child. And I can't wait to have that for like my kids someday.
Do you know, has there been any murders on the lake? Should this be a Back Row Banter investigation?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Well,
yeah, because it used to be, I mean, there could be something that's like afoot now, because like, danger's always lurking, and there's only more people that have kind of incorporated that area.
True.
So and some of them are like really, really, like we're talking like $1 million homes in some of these. There's like a St. Louis Cardinal that like lives on the lake. Like it's crazy.
And
St. Louis Cardinal.
Yeah.
How do you know it's from St. Louis?
Because people talk, and he's got the St. Louis baseball flag hanging on his pole for his American flag as well.
And a weird
and
collection.
it's like a fucking compound, bro.
What you don't see is the weird collection of antique hockey masks he has in his garage.
But I feel like murders are always more like, they're more mysterious with like rich people.
True.
I don't know. I feel like it's gonna happen with a rich person.
Yeah, for sure.
Before it's gonna happen with, I don't know, something else. But at least like that's my mystery murder mind, kind of just plotting things out for somebody.
When Back Row Banter goes into true crime, we'll let the listeners know, and
facts.
Hopefully we get to start there.
Start at the lake that Tyler's grown up on.
Yeah, I just think it's an important piece of lore.
Wow, how warm and endearing.
God, I thought we were all. I thought you guys were gonna. I thought you guys were gonna go with me on that, but no. All right, I was left out in the cold. As usual.
I'm down for the murder investigation segment of Back Row Productions. I don't know if we want to start at Tyler's beloved childhood home.
How about like an adjacent lake?
Vacation home.
How about an adjacent lake?
Yeah, a neighboring one.
Yeah.
Sure. That's valid.
That probably doesn't exist. But anyways,
we can, I guess, get on into the show here. Like I said, no news, no trailer talk. So it's an early one, but we're jumping right into Adam Schwartz's completely subjective new streaming list for the week of September 4th through the 10th.
How subjective would you say this is? For new listeners.
It's fairly subjective. I mean, as you know, new listeners, there's a lot of things that come to streaming platforms every week. Not all of them are worth watching. This is my hand-selected, hand-curated list. Very subjective as such.
Peek behind the curtain.
Might be worth checking out.
Adam scrolls all of the news feeds all week long and handwrites down this list. It's he works his fingers to the bone for you, the listeners. Yeah,
I do. And then I get a crow like in Game of Thrones. I roll it up on some parchment, attach it to its foot, and I send it around the world, and in the time it takes to get back to me is how long I have to like decide if something is really going to get on that list or not. And if I come back, I cross off the ones that I've decided aren't worthy, and then I finally type them out onto the show notes. You guys didn't know that, but it's a process that happens weekly. Got a lot of birds,
No, it's just one. Just no, the one bird.
He's just flying.
Noah 7.
That's what we've named him. It is.
Yeah. Why is he 7 already? Since he's been here since the start, we don't know. But it makes sense.
We started with Noah 5, and then eventually he died,
lost
and then
a
Noah
couple.
6.
Yeah.
So we're already on to Noah 7. We've been doing this for 2 years. Birds don't live that long when they fly that much.
That's true.
They get swept up in storms, or hunters shoot them down. Lots can happen.
Are ravens expensive? How much do you have? You are a college student. Or are you just capturing them in the wild?
No, I started breeding. I invested early.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You got in. You got in on the floor.
I have to raise them, or else they're not gonna fly where I want them to.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's how you do it. Anyway, Netflix. Netflix is getting Cobra Kai season 5. Which I am not a fan of, but I know many people are, and people say it's very good. So if you're interested, that's there. Amazon Prime isn't getting anything. Who's getting Petite Maman, which is a pretty popular film from last year, right, Nathaniel? I don't remember. Did you ever see this?
I did not. No.
I remember hearing about it from a few different places, and now it's coming to Hulu. So if you're interested, HBO Max isn't getting anything. Disney Plus is getting Pinocchio. Hold yourself, Nathaniel. Contain yourself. It is not. It is not the Del Toro. It is the Robert Zemeckis. Pinocchio.
Tom Hanks one, yeah.
Yeah, the Tom Hanks. Sort of live action animated one. It's weird looking.
Does anyone care?
No, I will not. No. Disney Plus is getting Thor: Love and Thunder. Marvel Studios assembled the making of Thor: Love and Thunder, another behind-the-scenes joint there. She-Hulk, episode 4. Obi-Wan Kenobi: A Jedi's Return. It's basically like the behind-the-scenes of Obi-Wan. And then the Frozen and Frozen 2 sing-along. So Tyler, man, you can now sing along as you've always wanted.
I mean, we do anyways, and I know the lyrics, but yeah, it's cool.
Cool. Well, we're there. All right. I guess we just do what we're watching. My God, we've been recording 12 minutes. This is weird. All right. What have you guys been watching? Don't take it. Whoever's eager, whoever's chomping at the bit. I didn't realize I just asked that question generally without I usually point it to someone first.
Someone gets a throw.
Yeah, and so what, whoever's just feeling themselves this week.
Yeah, I'll kick it off. Honestly, and it's going to be very close to kind of hinted in the group chat, right? And the review we're doing today is I watched all 3 John Wicks. Pretty much back to back to back. I mean, there was a nap, or not a nap, pardon me. There was nighttime that occurred, right? So I woke up and continued the series the next day. Okay. But that was a pretty eventful, to be honest with you guys. It was really interesting to kind of go through that story in pretty much 24 hours. Quickly. You know what I mean? Yeah. Kind of without the anticipation, and I'll have some thoughts on that once we kind of deep dive into the actual review. But yeah, overall, that was really fun. First time I've seen the third one since theaters. Second one I've seen a handful of times. First one I've seen a handful of times as well. So just kind of good to deep dive back on that. Outside of that, you were mentioning using crows or ravens. I think Nathaniel kind of used the term interchangeably. But nonetheless, I came across a lady's page on Instagram maybe about 2-3 days ago. And she feeds these crows in her backyard, and it's one of the most interesting Instagram pages I've come across in quite some time. You can just kind of see the crow hierarchy in her backyard. There's one crow that pretty much they all follow to, they eat after, and things of that nature. It's just really cool to kind of see that stuff at a very high level. I assume this person's a huge animal lover, but yeah, awesome page. So I've been kind of spending a lot of time just going down her page, and she's got years of content on those animals, and it's really cool to kind of see how they nest together, their interaction with their children. Birds are just a weird species. Anybody who's kind of into the animal realm, where they're not the greatest parents and things of that nature. So it is cool to see. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got on there. So I'll pass it off we'll go to Ty.
Yo. I got around to a couple things. Obviously, I was at the cabin for the weekend, so I congratulate everybody. This is one of the first times in a really long time that we have gone down there, and the TV hasn't even been turned on.
Wow.
So, yeah. Sometimes because we do have a TV and like internet and stuff down there, sometimes we'll end up like at night, like watching a movie or something like that. Didn't even get turned on. I was like, that's very impressive. Yeah. But when I did have time, I got around to the Samaritan with Rocky.
Is that on Netflix?
It's Amazon.
Amazon. Oh, and by Rocky you mean Sylvester Stallone.
With Stallone, yeah.
What is that about?
So he's like a superhero.
Okay.
And there's like this whole story involved, but essentially there was like a big fight that went down between him and said villain, and then he like disappears, and then like now the city's kind of like in shambles and kind of riddled with crime, and so like people are always like, you like see the TV scenes, you're like, where's Samaritan? Why did he leave us?
Gotcha. Okay.
And this kid finds him allegedly, so yeah, it's all right. Nothing crazy.
Does it look like one of those movies that was shot on, a green screen or something like that, or a box set?
Yeah, so some of it was actually really, really good. There is one particular scene towards the end where there is a lot of fire, and it just looks fucking terrible.
Okay.
Sure.
Just terrible.
Fair enough.
So, yeah. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I did get around to House of Dragons.
Ah, yes.
So we can kind of talk a little bit about that if you guys want.
I haven't seen more than the first episode still, so if you guys want to talk about it, I've been busy, man. I can take.
Yeah, but this is like your thing.
I know. I'm gonna catch up.
That's true.
I'm gonna catch up.
No, we don't have to. I'm okay.
How is it going though? How are you liking it?
I'm still enjoying myself.
All right.
Yeah, third episode I thought was the best so far, I would say. So we're starting to see some things happen here. It's a little momentum.
Agreed.
I'm on board.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I'm on board. I will look forward to this. So, and there's not really anything else on right now besides Rings of Power, which I'm not watching until I finished Lord of the Rings trilogy. But anyways, Tyler, continue.
Speaking of Rings of Power.
Oh, there we go. What a segue.
I did get around to the first two episodes like as soon as I got home. I wanted to watch them very, very badly while I was on vacation, but I had heard that some people that I know got an early viewing at a movie theater, and they said it was fucking epic.
Wow.
So I figured if I did it like on a tablet, even like with headphones, it would still not do it justice. So I didn't want to ruin anything. So I ended up staying or waiting until I got home, and I really I just like where we're at right now. It's obviously still pretty early, and like there's like all this like BS on the internet, and I never really read all that. But Justin's like getting into full blown arguments on like the Facebook group that we're part of. But yeah, I'm enjoying myself. I just love being in this universe. So yeah, it's really hard to kind of put anything on. I'm just really excited, and it feels really good. I sat on my couch and I just kind of like found myself in like a blanket and just like hearing Shire music and like being back in that world, like for like the first time again, because this is new material to me.
Sure.
I'm very fangirl-esque when I'm just kind of sitting there watching it. So I'm very happy so far.
Now, did they drop the first two episodes at the same time, or
they did?
Okay, gotcha. Are they? How long are they?
They're a little over an hour.
Okay.
So, and then they come out on Fridays now.
Okay.
Yeah. So
there's only 6 episodes of that, right?
I believe so.
So did it look better than The Samaritan?
Yes.
Okay.
Dude, I'm telling you, when you watch, where are you in the trilogy?
So peek behind the curtain. I still have to do Two Towers and Return of the King, but
okay. Are you doing extended 4K?
yes.
Okay, then yeah, like this looks as good.
Okay. High praise.
And so yeah, like really high quality stuff. I'm very excited. We had some friends visit from Arizona, from Nathaniel's neck of the woods.
Heyo.
And they stayed at our place. So we they stayed Thursday before we left for the cabin, and then last night when we got back. So before they left, or before we left, we watched a movie that I didn't really overly care to watch, but I got forced into, which I'm fine with. But it's the Forever Purge.
Oh, okay.
Is it the last Purge?
Yeah.
Okay. How is that?
No,
I can imagine that movie fucking sucks.
I think the last Purge is a different movie.
Oh, okay.
No, I genuinely don't know. I was just making a joke there, but it was the most recent Purge. Was the Forever Purge, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah. It's lame.
Yeah.
It's like your typical kind of slasher that you would expect to be made. Like everything is like uber predictable. Acting overall just is like subpar. So yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah.
And then what we got around to last night, I actually haven't seen in a really, really, really long time, which is kind of weird because it came out in 2007, but it was like a movie that I completely forgot existed. And I'm actually glad I did because it was like watching it for the first time again. But it's The Cleaner. Have any of you ever heard of this?
Codename The Cleaner?
So it's Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes.
Okay.
And he's a retired cop.
Yes.
And he cleans up crime scenes. But shit goes down.
As they say.
And all I would recommend is to watch it. I really don't want to talk about it because if you guys haven't seen it, I don't want you to watch the trailer if you want. But it's like super 2007. Like even the trailer, you'll see it right away. You'll be like, oh my God. Like I feel like I'm living in 2007 again.
Where did you watch this?
I believe it was on Netflix.
Okay. Yeah, I remember it vaguely, but I don't think I ever saw it. 2007, Sam Jackson had a weird run of movies in there for a bit too.
And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
All right.
But other than that, or sorry, it's just called Cleaner. It's not called The Cleaner.
Okay.
And yes, you can watch it on Netflix.
So just called Cleaner.
Yeah, but yeah, Samuel L. Jackson, Ed Harris, Eva Mendes.
Ooh, Ed Harris. I like the sound of
that. Robert Foster. That's probably it. For the most part. But yeah, I liked it. Go watch it.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Nathaniel, what'd you watch?
I got to a couple things. Let's see. I will also watch House of the Dragon, so that was episode 3. I think we've talked about that enough, basically. But yeah, I'm in on it, and I will be excited to see where the next episode goes. I think it's found its feet a little bit more, and they've covered. I don't know if that's indicative because they've jumped forward a couple years or what, but I'm glad that they're like not moving at a glacial pace overall. I feel like it's been well kind of crafted so far. So I'm definitely interested to see where it goes. A movie I got to actually, which was just kind of random one. I was scrolling through HBO Max, I think, and saw it was on there. And it was one that I hadn't thought about in a long time, but I'm sure most of us have seen. That's The Green Mile.
Oh yeah,
I've not seen it.
Yeah.
You have not seen it,
No,
Adam?
I'm familiar, but I've not seen it.
Blake, have you seen it?
Yeah, I actually think I've seen that in school.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why.
That makes sense.
But that's PG-13, right? That may even be PG from at the time it was made.
I think it's R if I'm not mistaken.
Jesus, I'm way off.
Yeah, but
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. Adam, do you know what it's about at all?
Not really, to be honest.
Okay. Well, it's Tom Hanks, and he is working on on the prison death row, which is called the Green Mile, hence the name of the movie. And there's a prisoner there by the name of John Coffey, who's played by Michael Clarke Duncan, who is sentenced to death, but may or may not have done the crime, and he's kind of investigating that, but also just kind of it covers about 6 months in the life of the prison as well too. But it's written by Stephen King, based off of a book by Stephen King, and it's directed by Frank Darabont, who most people I guess would know as the director of The Shawshank Redemption. Also worked on Walking Dead for a while. This was kind of his next prison movie, I guess, after Shawshank. But yeah, it's a really good movie. It's 3 hours long, so strap in if you are gonna give it a watch. But is kind of, I don't know, it's one of those that it feels like, well, they don't really make him like this anymore, and that it's just kind of a prestige drama, all set in more or less one place, but kind of has that kind of grand feel to it overall. And yeah, it's really, really good. So I do recommend The Green Mile if you guys have not seen it. I also watched the second John Wick after watching the first one this week. And yeah, it's fun. It's not as good as I feel like I remember it being, if I'm being completely honest with everyone here. I'm interested to see if I do watch the third one, how I'll feel about that one, because that was the most recent one we saw in theaters, obviously, but I've only seen it the one time at the theaters. And yeah, I'd be really interested to see how kind of I feel about it now overall, which we'll definitely talk about, but it's crazy how much that universe has just like spiraled out from where the first one goes. But yeah, and then the last thing I got to, which if anyone has seen it, well, maybe Tyler has too, was the David Cronenberg version of the movie The Fly. Has anyone else seen this?
No, I haven't seen it. I know exactly what it is on something I should see.
Sure.
But I haven't, because that's like an original. Was that like from the 60s or 50s? And then there's a remake in the 80s, right?
Yeah. So the original was, I want to say like almost like the 30s or the 40s or something like that.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then,
sure. Yeah.
And then obviously Cronenberg made his remake, which I want to say was early 80s, late 70s. Hold on, I should know this. But it stars Jeff Goldblum, our boy, and Gina
86.
Davis. 86. Thank you very much. Yeah, so Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis. And Jeff Goldblum is a scientist who is working on teleportation technology. And one night in his lab, he decides to test it on himself. So he gets in the pod, but accidentally a fly gets in there with him. And it teleports the both of them, but does not teleport them separately from one another. So it is kind of a genre sci-fi body horror classic for sure. Most horror heads would recognize it for sure. As Blake said, he's like, I know exactly what it is. I just haven't seen it yet. And I was definitely in that same boat. I had always heard about it, but had never actually seen it. And yeah, it's gruesome. It's pretty crazy, and it's definitely it starts and kind of gives you what the rules are going to be, and then the next hour and a half is you just watching them unfold. And as a viewer, that's pretty crazy. But overall, I definitely think it's worth a watch if you can handle body horror for sure. Big if there. But other than that, that was what I got to this week. Besides the F1 race, actually, as well, too. We always kind of talk about that, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Netherlands. Zandvoort. I'm surprised Tyler didn't bring it up.
Yeah, sorry. I was taking a drink of water there. Yeah, it was the Dutch Grand Prix. And but it was somewhat of an interesting race, I suppose.
Max Verstappen.
Yeah, he's unstoppable right now.
He's gonna. This is his 10th win.
I don't know.
Sorry, I was taking a drink of water.
You're good. How many races has he won now?
I believe it is 10.
And what's the record in one season? 13.
That I don't know off the top of my head.
I think they said that on the broadcast, and we have 7 races left.
Very manageable for our boy right now.
100%. Very manageable. Holy shit. He's just no one can touch him.
Yeah, they're looking good. Very, very good.
Yeah. I would be shocked if he doesn't win the world championship again.
Well, who knows? I mean,
you never know.
You never know. But yeah, it seems like pretty sewed up in their favor. But it's always interesting to watch.
Yeah, I mean,
as well too.
They still got to make sure the car can get around the track essentially, and because that's probably the biggest thing right now, probably facing him, or that could bring him down, is just reliability, or someone being a dumbass and hitting them or whatever.
Well, we know it's not going to be Ferrari.
Yeah. They really kind of just shit the bed.
They
I think
screwed
is
it
the
up.
Technical term.
Yeah. They had so much potential this year to run with it.
Just a bunch of fucking clowns.
Yeah, imagine being a Ferrari fan, right? Fucking losers.
I hope none of the listeners are Ferrari fans. But
fucking around. I love Charles. I've been on record on this pod saying how much I love Charles Leclerc. And they just can't get it together. And I like Carlos Sainz. It's just the Ferrari pit wall is,
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But if any Ferrari fans are out there,
clowns.
Don't worry, I still like you. And that actually happened at a perfect time where my Discord reset. But I'm sure I'll be back here in a second with the boys. Because you're listening to Smooth Jazz. KYOT, the Coyote, on 99.9. Back, boys?
Yes, sir.
Howdy, gang. Anyways, that probably figures as a pretty good stopping point for what I watched. But, Adam, what did you watch?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, Nathaniel. I've been waiting all week. Let's see. Well, as we said before, the Netherlands Grand Prix. Fun race. Not the only sporting event I've been watching. The U.S. Open is going on right now, which is always a nice kind of way to end the year. It's kind of the most convenient major to watch because it's in the U.S. and it's not at random ass times, because the Australian Open, it's like you have to stay up to like 3 a.m. to like see like the last matches, or they don't start till like 7 p.m. Like those are the earliest ones. I don't know. It's really random ass times for the Australian Grand Prix, so that one's always the hardest to watch. And then France is like very early. And then Wimbledon's not too bad. It's just like it's only in the morning. Essentially, they're done by like 3 or 4 p.m. here. So the U.S. Open is I almost said U.S. Grand Prix. The U.S. Open is pretty fun to watch, and it's easy as well. It's been a great U.S. Open on the men's and the women's side. You obviously had Serena Williams play potentially, almost definitely her last major tournament, which is interesting. I don't know. I don't love Serena, but respect who she is as a tennis player and what she's done for the sport and for sports and all that. And so it's just kind of crazy to see like that historical of a figure. Just you watched the final time play, or her final match basically.
She'll be legendary status, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, she was legendary status a long time ago, and so it's just the fact that that's done now, and like she's the type of athlete you're gonna have to tell your kids about, kind of thing. Like if you watch Serena play, like that kind of thing. Is
for women's tennis, is she gonna be like that untouchable one that like no one's ever gonna come close, really, or do you think there is someone like eventually that will start breaking her records and stuff?
I think that in the nature of competition, someone's always outdoing, the last person to do it the best.
For sure.
But I think like it's gonna be hard because the women's tennis is like the past like 2 decades you've never seen such dominance in really any sport, because on the men's side you have Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic, who have just just like dominated for the past 24, 25 years, if not maybe a little bit longer. Absolutely dominated. Like if it's a major tournament, if it's one of the 4 grand, grand tournaments. What are they? I'm blanking on the term.
The Grand Slam.
Maybe just like Grand Slam is when you win all 4 though. It's
majors.
Majors, I guess, is just the term. I'm gonna keep going with them. That is a proper term. I feel like there's one with a G that I'm just forgetting. I could be wrong. Anyway, any major you go in and it's like, all right, it's either, well, one of those 3 is gonna win, and then for a little bit it was Andy Murray too, and it was like the 4 of them. You knew one of the 4 of them was gonna win. Like no one else even stood a chance. Like why are you even playing? And so and then on the women's side for a while it was like Venus or Serena, and like since it was only 2 of them, it was a little bit more open. Like they weren't undefeatable or unbeatable. So it wasn't as bad, but
gotcha.
So for the past like 2 decades, it's been just lights out on both ends of things, on both men's and women's. And now Federer hasn't played in over a year. He's going to try to come back for a little bit, but he's definitely on his way out. Nadal's on his way out. He's trying to play as long as he can with his I think it's an ankle or knee injury that's kind of chronic and keeps coming back to bite him. And Djokovic is younger than them, but still getting up there, and so he's only got a few years left too. So like we're kind of entering like a new generation on both women's and men's side, which is pretty exciting because this tournament has shown it the best, where it's just like having both draws wide open has been really entertaining because you kind of just see all these young guns come in and they have a lot of confidence now, and there's a lot less in their way to kind of get a major title, which is of course what they all want. So it's been fun to watch. A lot of good matches. Nadal got beat by an American, Francis Tiafoe, which was an incredible match. And then there's this young stud. His name is Carlos Alcaraz, who is Rafael Nadal, his uncle, is the one who coached him. Okay. And then eventually he got another coach when he got further into his career. His uncle went and coached this kid.
Gotcha.
And now he's kind of coming in and taking over, and he's kind of getting set up to be like the next big Nadal or Federer kind of thing, where he hasn't won anything yet, but like you can kind of tell he's got a little bit something extra that the others don't. So he's kind of like on his way up. But yeah, it's been a great US Open to watch. Been getting as many matches in as I can, and we'll see who takes it at the end on both sides.
Adam, could you back off the mic just a little bit? You're getting a little ASMR-y here. It's like picking up. It's like picking up like your mouth moving.
Oh, I gotcha. Thank you. Good call. I'm just gonna turn on the gain a little bit here. I had it up quite a bit. Let me know if that's good. Anyway, let's see.
Sounds good now.
Cool. Thank you for letting me know. For my documentary class, watched one of the first docs ever. Pretty much the first doc, called Nanook of the North. Are you familiar, Nathaniel?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I have not seen it.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Is it real? Like, it's actually a guy named Nanook of the North or whatever? Because I feel like that was a movie that they tried to make a million times.
No, that part's fake as fuck.
Okay.
And so the whole movie is hard to call a documentary. But it's supposed to be the first documentary. That's what it was advertised as, but it was really just a guy who was like, oh, I can go up to the Arctic, which he did. Like that part's real.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go up to the Arctic and film these Eskimos,
quote unquote.
and they were Eskimos, but he paid them to act in scenes. Actually, I don't even know if he paid them, but he just had them act, different scenes.
He probably didn't pay it. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I don't think he did. I think we had a whole talk about it in class today about how he basically treated them like shit. And like, there's like 2 women in the movie that he has affairs with, both of them. Apparently.
Oh
God. Yeah, really. Robert Flaherty, really, really not a great guy, but he knew
Hollywood, baby.
Yeah. He knew when this camera technology came out that this was a kind of an opportunity to go someplace like that where 99% of the population can even conceive of, and then record it, and then not only that, but then like distribute and stuff. And he made a ton of money. Didn't really give it to anybody in the film, but yeah, it's considered a documentary somewhat even to this day, even though it's really not. And then like that's kind of one of the reasons my professor showed it to us, is these first couple weeks have been like kind of rethinking what you think a documentary is and what it contains, and and the style of it and whatnot.
Are you guys doing Rome Open City at all?
I don't know. I can look at the syllabus really quick. Is that one that you feel like we should be getting to?
I can't remember if it's technically under a doc or not. Maybe not, but it's just a guy driving around his scooter in Rome for a while. But I don't know if but there is a story to it, so it might not actually go through there.
You said Rome, open city?
Yeah.
I do not see it on here. I do see on here, however, Blackfish.
Hey, there you go.
That's towards the end of the semester, so
that makes sense.
Get there. Yeah.
Any other fun ones on there?
Yeah. Salesman, which is that one, another like original documentary from like the 50s. I think it's like direct cinema, is what the style was called. But then we're gonna eventually get to XXX Tentacion doc, Look at Me, I think, which is on Hulu. And then Bowling for Columbine, which I haven't seen but really want to. And then eventually we'll watch Procession, which is my professor's doc that's on Netflix.
Gotcha.
So there's quite a few that I'm looking forward to.
We watched Bowling for Columbine in high school. It's a random one. Yeah.
Speaking of docs on that, Adam, you mentioned XXX Tentacion has a doc on Hulu. I think I heard you mention. I don't know if you're a fan of like Gunna and Lil Baby and whatnot, but Lil Baby has a doc on Amazon Prime.
Does he?
Yeah, and that's what I forgot to mention, but I actually did get to that. I think that was like last Thursday or something. So yeah, but no, that's pretty interesting though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've thought of getting to the X one on Hulu. I've thought of getting to it, but just haven't sat down and got to it.
I've heard it's good, and I think there was a lot that came out about X where it was just like,
at the time, he was a very questionable person, right? On the moral scale, for sure. Yeah. And then he kind of changed that a little bit, and then he was unfortunately assassinated, or murdered, whatever term you want to use. So
I don't know. I'm excited to get to that because I just want to like kind of go through that story and see what they give us. But I don't know, because I like his music a lot, and then
he does make really good music, very talented guy.
Yeah, but then after the fact, when I heard everything, I was just like, I don't know if I want to even,
if you want to continue to support his music, for sure.
And then it came out that like some of the stuff that was said about him wasn't true necessarily, and so it's just like I don't know where to stand. So maybe the documentary can shed light on that. I will say my professor did watch that doc, and he was like, or he watched it recently, he said, and so he was telling about us in class, and he was like, they start out the movie, and it's just like his mom was the one who asked for this to be made because she wanted it to be a warning almost to that lifestyle of like like X, like he'd never listened to her, like he was a decent kid, but like he would never take her advice or stop doing something when she told him to, or like that kind of thing, and so she like knew like when he got into this lifestyle of doing drugs and all this stuff, and she knew he would escalate it, and she almost had a gut feeling like this would be how he eventually died,
right?
Like, kind of because of your demise. Life. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
it's tough. They say being a rapper may be the most dangerous job in the U.S. I would come close to agreeing. You know.
Yeah.
Sadly,
have they met an underwater welder?
I don't think they have, Nathaniel, to your point.
Welding underwater?
Yeah, it's a real thing. They do. They go out on the oil rigs.
It is a real thing.
And like they go down on a scuba tank, and then they have a special welder, I think, that gets super, super hot so that even then the water won't do it, and they can weld underwater. But it's like they get paid out the ass because it is like ridiculously dangerous because you can't see anything. It's super dark, it's super cold, and you're working with something that's so hot it can be light on fire underwater. So like,
it's valid.
Yeah, there's a great comic book called Underwater Welder by what is that guy's name? Jeff Lemire, I think. Yeah, written in and drawn by him as well too. Really good story. Check it out.
Maybe I will. Let's see. The last thing I watched, I have another thing, but I don't even want to talk about it because I only watched half of it. I had to watch The Conversation for my audio engineering class, which I've brought up on pod before. I had to watch it for a different class like a year ago.
Francis Ford.
I just don't like that movie.
Wow.
I didn't enjoy it at all the first time. So I was just like, I watched like half of it and I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's so like, it just moves so slow and like nothing happens in it. And it's just, yeah, it's a very drawn out thriller, but it's just not for me. Let's see. Last thing. I got to a little film called A Star is Born.
The original, I'm sure.
Oh. Nope. Although I wouldn't be opposed to go seeing the older ones and kind of comparing. But yeah, I rewatched it. I was kind of scrolling through Vudu, seeing what I had on there, because I was like, maybe I'll go watch John Wick tonight. But I wasn't in a John Wick mood, and then I saw A Star is Born. I was like, yeah, I'll watch that, because I haven't seen it in a while, and it was still very fun to watch.
Did it end differently?
It did not. No, it's the same ending. It did not. The Voodoo did not change the ending of the movie. Thank God.
Did you guys ever have that experience as a kid where you're watching a movie and you're like, maybe this time when I watch it, like that character I like won't die or something like that? Is that just me? Am I alone on my island?
No.
Okay.
Can't say I've had that.
Well, sorry. You just never thought you were control over, your movies. I thought maybe that was my superpower. I could just rewrite movies on the fly and have them end how I wanted them to end.
Maybe I did think that like once or twice as a kid, like, oh, I wonder if I could, like, this will happen. No, but I don't know if I've ever seriously considered it.
How about, have you ever stopped a movie because you didn't like what was coming next, or like you knew what was coming next and you were like, not this time?
No, I haven't been there.
Have you ever turned off a movie in general? Like, you're just watching and you're like, this is crap, I'm done.
This week, I turned off the conversation.
Okay, fair enough.
If we didn't have this podcast, I would have fucking turned off American Pickle.
Let's be honest, you would never have started it.
No, for sure. Yeah, I guess that's the more valid answer. So I guess I wouldn't have to turn it off. I just never would have clicked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever walked out of a movie, like in a movie theater?
No.
No.
I don't believe so. I remember falling asleep in a movie theater because I went to the Iron Man 2 premiere. Not that the movie was bad, but I went to like the midnight premiere of that. So this was, I don't know, like my sophomore year of high school. And just like after doing a ton of stuff the entire day, thought it'd be really fun with my friends to go see a movie that started at like 11:30 p.m.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it was like 1 a.m. and I was like, fellas, I'm about to KO. And so that I didn't rewatch Iron Man 2 till like years later, like in college. So yeah.
This is the reason why you're burned out on Marvel movies now.
Marvel, yeah, for sure. The second Iron Man movie did it.
You didn't buy in back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I think I've riffed enough on this.
You're good. I don't have anything else on the list. So that means we can get into the review segment of the podcast. Welcome, listeners, to the main review segment. Nathaniel, if the listener here is new or maybe they've just forgotten, can you give them a rundown of how the review segment works?
Rundown incoming. If you're a new listener, maybe you've just forgotten, the way the review segment works here on Back Row Banter is it is split up into two segments. There's the non-spoiler section, and then there's the spoiler section. It's pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go over the IMDb page, our initial thoughts, kind of go around, and we will have to recommend this movie or not recommend this movie. Have to make a decision. There is no nuance on the internet. And then it'll be spoiler time. I'll play the spoiler noise. We'll go into more in-depth thoughts, any big spoilers, anything like that. But do come back, because just if you haven't seen this movie, we still have more podcasts left to do. So I'll play the spoiler noise again. And you can listen to where we rank it up on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we've watched on the podcast, ranked. With that being said, Adam, tell me about John Wick.
I would love to. This movie was released in the ripe year of 2014. And watching it this time, I was like, okay, yeah, this movie, it's not like it's old, but it's just like, it does feel like it was almost of a different time kind of thing. Just barely. Like this feels like, I feel like we're just starting to turn that corner of like, oh, now it's, we are in a new decade, and this feels very like 2010s almost.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Not a bad thing, but
I feel like if you like look at action, you can like split it up into like pre the Bourne movies, when it was like not, and then like there's post-born movies where it was like, and it was that for a while, where it's that quick cut action in between, like, you know, and then I feel like this was like kind of that next step after that, and now it was like
another turning point,
and now there's like the John Wick style action scenes, and I think again we are kind of, like you said, almost turning the corner to the next one. We'll see something else soon, I'm sure.
Definitely. So this is rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 41 minutes and an IMDb rating of 7.4 out of 10. Directed by Chad Stahelski and David Leitch, who we just saw. Well, David Leitch was uncredited, but we just saw him with Bullet Train. Written by Derek Kolstad, and starring, of course, Keanu Reeves, Michael Nyqvist. I don't know how to pronounce. It's Nyqv. Nyqvist. I don't know.
Let's go with that.
Sure. And then Alfie Allen, who you might recognize as Theon Greyjoy, Willem Dafoe, making another appearance on the Entropy list and very quickly climbing up to the top and maybe most featured actor. Have we decided? Wasn't he close to the top last time he was here?
He's got to be pretty near at this point.
Yeah.
We'll have to take a look later because I think he's if he gets in one more, he might take the crown.
Yeah, I think it was him and Vera Farmiga was up there, and I don't think we have anything new from her. So he may take it between the Lighthouse and now this.
Yeah, at least he's close. And then I guess we'll throw in a Dean Winters is also in it, who's the Allstate guy.
Ian McShane.
Mayhem. Ian McShane, sorry, yeah, I should, and Lance Reddick. There you go. They were further down the list, so I forgot to add them in. The IMDb summary reads as follows: An ex-hitman comes out of retirement to track down the gangsters that killed his dog and took everything from him. I hate that.
Yeah, you're out.
I like it.
I mean,
that's what the movie is when you break it down.
I guess
wrong.
I don't know. Maybe it is decent. To me, it takes out like the mythos of John Wick. It's just like it's so bland, you know.
I guess I like it that way though, because as a viewer, when you're going in the first time, like you don't know what you're gonna get into. Right? Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's true. I don't know. I just wish it had a little bit more of that, you know, special sauce that this movie has with the character. It just feels very bland compared to what you get. But that being said, as a summary, sure, it's functional. But I just wish there was a little bit more pizzazz.
Gotcha.
Anyway, you have Keanu Reeves playing the man named John Wick, who is a hitman assassin of legend, of yore, who decides to go into retirement and has to come out, of course, as the summary mentioned, when, I guess, you could say a group of thugs, a group of gangsters rob his house and kill his dog.
Yeah.
There's more to it than just that, but it's not just a dog, because I mean, you find this out in the spoilers. Yeah, I mean, it's the first 10 minutes and it's been out for 8 years. I don't have too much trouble. I don't have too much trouble saying it's the dog. The dog is his wife is his wife's last gift to him before she passed. So that's why it pisses him off so much. It's not just like his dog, you know.
But it is his dog.
And of course, I think that's probably where you kind of like start with this movie, is the fact that like it's so ridiculous in its concept in some ways, and like some of the things it pulls off, but does them so well. Like it just excuse me as I cough for one more second.
You're excused for now. No, you're no longer excused. Get back on the mic, sir.
I'm dying.
I figured that when you went for the second sip,
Adam, put the handle.
That cough's beating his ass right now.
Adam, put the handle of vodka down. You're too much.
Yeah.
Little theater.
Someone else got to talk.
He's down 0-3 right now to the cough. He might get swept, fellas, if he doesn't come back. Yeah. Overall, to kind of Adam's point, what he's preferencing, right? There's the dog is very sentiment right? Sentimental to John Wick, and yeah, I don't know. How do Nathaniel and Tyler feel? I think it's kind of better, kind of saving some of that stuff.
Yeah,
but,
when I was watching it this time, I was like, man, I wish I could have gone into this movie completely blind the first time, because there's nothing to like give away who John Wick is at the at the start of the movie.
Yeah.
If you don't know it, or if you hadn't seen a trailer ahead of time or didn't know what the story was or anything like that. And I was having that experience this time. I was like, I wonder, because I remember I didn't catch this in theaters initially because I didn't think it had a very wide release, really.
I don't think I caught it in theaters either. I think I caught it with my pops one time, just kind of like sitting at home a few years later,
Yeah,
I for sure saw this in theaters.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't remember it having a huge release overall. But yeah, like I said, I wish I could have gone into this one kind of completely blind and unburdened with the knowledge of who John Wick was and what he used to do.
John Wick is.
Yeah. But they do a good job in the story itself of, building up, as Adam has called it, that kind of mythos around him and everything like that.
For sure. Yeah. So, I guess kind of just going around, right, to kind of keep this segment flowing in terms of the non-binary recommends, do we not recommend before spoilers? I could imagine all of us are recommends on this film, right? I certainly recommend it. Great film. Had super fun rewatching it, to be honest with you, the other day. I was like, I fucking love this movie. That's my brief thoughts. I'll save the rest for spoilers. Adam, Nathaniel,
I'm back.
You're good, my man. All right. Good to know.
No, I always get my allergies earlier down here. Like usually when I'm, back home in Chicago, it's usually around November, late October. Every single year, past 3 years, first week of September. Yeah. And I was on top of this year. I was on top of it. I started taking my allergy meds 2 weeks ago. And so it hasn't been as bad, actually. It hasn't been nearly as bad. It's been a little, I had one day where I was like, I do not feel good. But besides that, it's been pretty mild. But that cough, man, it is one of those ones where you inhale the wrong way and then it just scratches and you can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, this movie's a recommend. Fantastic. This was the one I wanted to put on the list. I've been wanting to do it since we started this podcast because it just like, I think the way it just like, especially this first one. We haven't. I don't know what you guys were talking about when I was gone for a sec, but like, we've talked about, I think before, how like the sequels they change where it's like they evolve and make this, they flesh out the world a little bit and make it they up the scale. Where like this first one you don't know what to expect, and it feels like a much more grounded story. And because it's like you don't know this character, it just works so much better. And like it's much more believable that this is like, say, real life almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, grounded is the kind of name of the game with this one, which is in one hand, I think, to go with the movie, but also because they didn't have any money when they were making this,
It's so low budget.
Yeah.
It's so low budget. For an action.
You notice things like even where, thugs at the start of the movie are attacking him with like balaclavas on, and then that's because later on in the movie they just used the same stuntmen but just didn't have the masks on and everything like that as well too. You could definitely tell that this one was made on a dime, but is a good example of how you don't need a ton of money to make a hit or make something that's fast action, big action, craziness, but it's still a pretty insular story overall.
Yeah, it just works really well. The scale that they have this world at, because it does feel very underground, but also like realistic in the sense where like, I don't know, maybe it is just this one hotel and like these few assassins and this whole network, but like, it's grounded is definitely the word, but and then they kind of get out of that with the sequels, which is good and bad, I would say. Kind of depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
I'm dying. I can't get rid of this cough. But yeah, definitely recommend on my end. And before we say anything else or we go on, I just want to say I love Keanu Reeves in this. He's fantastic in this. And
One of the action not founding fathers, but definitely on what's the term I'm looking for? Mount Rushmore of action, right?
Sure, definitely.
For sure.
Oh yeah,
I think that's a unanimous. So yeah, this was awesome. It was really cool to kind of see him back in this realm because before this came out at the time, I mean, I couldn't really tell you the last action thing he was in. I don't know if you would count the Constantine as an action film, but that's probably like 2007, 2008, 2009, if I can pull a year off the top of my head. But I don't think I really recall seeing him in anything action-based prior to that. So that's like a 5-6 year jump, right? Till we get to 2014 on this. So,
well, there's a little movie called The Matrix.
Well, yeah, but that's early 2000s.
Oh, yeah, I thought you said 1999. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I said the Constantine's probably, I thought it was like 2008, 2009. I could be completely wrong.
I think it's earlier than that.
Like 05, 06.
Yeah, I think it's 05, 06. But
sure.
Yeah, then he made that one movie, was it like 97 Ronin or whatever, where he's in
I don't think I've seen that.
47 Ronin.
47 Ronin.
47 Ronin.
That's what it was. Yeah, that was like 2012, I want to say. But yeah, this was the start of the Keanu-sans. This was what kind of started bringing him back. I remember people in college talking about this and being like, "Oh, Keanu Reeves is back! Like we're getting behind him. Like this is our boy again." And yeah, he was kind of out there in the wilderness for a while, but then he's been killing it ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, it's like he was coming out of retirement for this role,
For sure.
Yeah.
or at least for the action side of things.
Right.
Yeah, that line where he's like, you know what, I'm thinking I'm back.
Yeah.
That might as well have been Keanu speaking for
very
himself.
Self-aware for sure.
Yeah, I didn't catch that line.
You didn't?
No.
Oh, you're being facetious. My bad.
I'm being facetious. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You cut out a little bit, so I can tell.
I got you.
Okay. Yeah, y'all want to? Yeah, I low-key really want to jump into this. And
all right, let's go. Let's go.
Chat about everything.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and head into spoilers. So if you've not seen John Wick 1 and do not want to spoil it for you, go ahead, check the episode description where I've left a timestamp you can jump to where you'll be taken to the ranking of the movie. Hop upon the entropy list. Spoilers.
Shit goes down.
Shit goes down.
Yeah. So I mean, to kind of Adam's point on the IMDb summary, right? They took the wrong person's dog, took the wrong person's car.
They did.
I mean, this movie is just the age old of like, you just never know who you're fucking with type movie. You never know who you're talking to. It's kind of like with anything like road rage, street fights, arguments in public. You just really never know who you're speaking to or like what you're kind of signing up for. And yeah, John Wick is the man you send to kill the boogeyman. So stole the wrong person's car.
Which is just what a line.
Yeah.
And they do that throughout the film.
To preference that, yeah. His introduction when Viggo is talking to his son is almost the best character introduction I've seen.
You can't get better. And
we started reviewing these podcasts or reviewing these movies.
Without a doubt. Awesome. And what sets it up even better, and this is the first time they do this, and then they do it throughout the movie, is where it's just like when he's on the phone with the
auto shop guy.
Their car guy, and he's just like, well, sir, he stole John Wick's car and killed his dog. And he just goes, and hangs up his phone. And you're like, that's really that's all he's going to say? Because like, before you've seen this film, you of course, your expectations are supposed to be this long conversation and he's explaining why he hit his son. But it's like, he doesn't have to say anything else. Like that is the gravitas that the name John Wick carries. They do that. And then the Baba Yaga scene on top of that, the way they just build up his character is to the point where it's like you don't know who this guy is at all, and you're kind of confused in the beginning, and then it's just like they kill his dog and you feel bad for him.
For sure. And you see him get his ass beat too. So you're just kind of you really don't know.
So you're like, okay. And then those two scenes happen, and then the Baba Yaga scene as he's explaining all that is when you see him go down to his basement and you get him, he's hammering out his old equipment and stuff. And like what a way to edit that back and forth too. I love that.
Yeah. That scene is like awesome.
By the time that he suits up for that home invasion, that first home invasion like sequence, you're kind of like, holy shit, like this guy's about to fuck shit up because you're scared.
Yeah, and that's about the 25, 30-minute mark.
25-minute mark,
if I remember. Yeah, if I remember looking at it and clocking it, it was very interesting. I mean, just off the strength, because the way Viggo is portrayed, he's like the stereotypical like mafia boss, right?
Yeah,
super big guy, really clean dressed and things in that nature, right? He's got an assistant he's talking to kind of any type of way. Looks like he has a ton of money. And the way he kind of speaks to the auto shop guy beforehand, you could see that like he was like, how could you even dare lay a finger on my child? Like, I'll kill you. You know what I mean? Like, that's like pretty much the intent of like, so I've been made aware you've touched my son, right?
Yeah, right.
And then he tells him about John Wick. Then he's just like, all right, well, my son's a dead man walking. It's like basically what that O is, right? He's like, all right, well,
yeah,
this is gonna be bad. And I love the scene when he's explaining it to his son, and like that's when you kind of basically get like the best exposition dump I've seen in years, right? Where he's explaining to his son of like who John Wick is, yada yada yada. Then his son is like, "Father, I'll make it right." Then he's like, "What the fuck? Did this guy hear anything I just said?"
Yeah, I know. Did you even listen? I once watched John Wick kill 3 men in a bar with a fucking pencil, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Who is he, the Joker?
I love that scene, man. Yeah.
God, dude, it's so good. And then of course you have like the mayhem guy in the back who's like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
So he keeps asking if he can go.
Yeah, and he's like, fucking English, Viggo, English. It's so good. They just, and like I said, they do that thing constantly where it's like they expect the characters to do one thing or say one thing, and then it's just like, oh, that doesn't matter like this. Like they just kind of, they keep it shorter. And I don't know, it just does such a good job of like building up who John Wick is throughout the first act. And once you get past that scene where it's like, this is who he is, you just then see it. The rest of the film. The other thing, we talk about this being like a turning point in action where like you had the quick cuts of the Bourne Legacy, which kind of era, which was very, very good and still kind of holds up today. You'll still see it, of course. It's not going to go away anytime soon unless Marvel can figure something out. But with this one, it's just like kind of a return almost to like classic almost Jackie Chan style movies where it's just like one shot and it's just like a choreographed dance of a fight scene.
The cinematography is awesome.
Yeah, and it was just like, not that we hadn't seen it before, but it's just like it's something we hadn't seen in a new movie in a long time, and it's done so well. And of course, Keanu being Keanu with his martial arts background and stuff for The Matrix is like the perfect guy to do that and the perfect guy to bring that back.
Yeah.
So it's just very well done in that respect. Just the direction, the action directing, and then the style of John Wick's like kind of assassination or kind of his fight style, I guess. It's just very clinical, like almost surgical, where he's just like he's not wasting time. Like he is taking out his enemies. Like he has an objective. It's like he says in that monologue, he's a man of focus, and like he's taking out.
Yeah, what is it? It's like, is it focus, determination? I think I'm like sheer will.
Sheer will, something like that. And it's just like you see that, like he's that personified in this character, and Keanu does such a good job in his acting, in doing that, and how he goes about, taking down the other people he's fighting. And the other thing I like about this movie too is like he gets seriously injured, and it's like not that he's like, not like those injuries debilitate him as much as they would in real life, but like in other action movies, people like fall off buildings and they just keep running, and it's like, when he gets hit, he falls down. Like
for sure.
And his
shot,
injuries,
stabbed.
And his injuries carry with him throughout the film. And like that was also something where, again, it's still not the most realistic thing ever, but it's nice to see someone who is vulnerable in that way, where he's the biggest killing machine that anyone's ever seen, but also like you can hit him and it's still gonna hurt.
Yeah. Speaking of realism, then we'll let Nathaniel and Ty kind of jump in. Just the attention to detail and kind of how they handle guns, reloading, gun handling, things in that nature in this movie or this series in general, right, is like second to none. And I think that's also what makes it appealing to people, is because like I think Ty brought it up when we were watching Predator. Obviously, drastically different movie, drastically different eras, right? But there's a scene where the guy's just kind of letting off the LMG, like aimlessly spraying.
Sure.
It's just kind of like goofy, right? We're like, in this, it's like you can almost like count the shots every time somebody fires a gun, and they'll reload when they're supposed to. And every once in a while, you'll get like the tactical reload. But it's just like, it's really refreshing to see that, and not John Wick go into a club with 2 pistols and like reload one time. Right. It just doesn't happen. He has to switch guns sometimes. Sometimes he kills somebody and take the other person's gun, right? Because he's out of mags and things of that nature. It's good. Everything they've done with that, just and that makes that movie that much more realistic, that much more interesting. Where it's like, yeah, this is how it should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and to just kind of back up Adam's point there, I guess I think too. We talk a lot about on this podcast about a movie being tight and about a movie being like, well made, compact, all that kind of thing. And this is just a good example of that, as well too, I think, in that it is a pretty simple story, but even all parts of the film are well crafted in like that. You do get that exposition dump, but it's tied directly into the dialogue. And it's an example of why exposition is okay if it gives us something to care about. And then, even visually in that scene, because you have your hero who is finally, putting all of his, his armor on, basically, as he's kind of talking about it and coming out of retirement, putting his work uniform back on. You have that intercut with that own, introduction as well, too. And then finally, by the end of it, visually, we have our silhouette of John Wick, which is, Keanu Reeves with the slick back hair in the suit. And yeah, it looks awesome.
The all black.
Yeah. So, again, we talk a lot on the podcast about, what makes a movie good for us or what's just kind of that mindless action. And this is, again, an example of a movie that does a good job of both action and having, a nice little mind with it as well, too. And we haven't even talked about, the world yet either and how that opens up as well, too.
We haven't.
Immediately with like, his little cleaners that comes in and he pays them with the coin and has his dinner party reservation. Us as the audience realize there's a code going on there, or, that things don't necessarily mean what they say they mean. And
there's an established world that we are now being led into.
Yeah. And you follow that with John Wick back into that world, and then that leads obviously onto the Continental. And I'll let Tyler talk for a little bit as well.
And I think maybe one of my favorite bits of that world building is when the cop comes to the front.
Yeah, Jimmy.
That's your introduction to it, where you're aware, like, okay, like even the police don't, because that's the most logical thing. Is like, all right, boy. And there's got to be some repercussions for this, right? This guy just killed 19 people.
Yeah, and that's another thing where this movie is like, as a viewer coming into this, you're like, oh, the cops are here. Like, how is he gonna explain this or like whatever?
Exactly. Yeah.
And like it just subverts that and adds to the mythos. It's just like, oh, not even the cops are gonna fuck around with John Wick because like, what are they gonna do?
Right. Yeah. Ty, you got any thoughts?
And that guy might be an assassin.
The cop?
The cop. You just never know.
He could be in on it. Yeah, he could be.
He could be in on it. That's true.
Yeah, it's fucking John Wick. I think one of the things that we kind of talk about a lot is, something that feels lived in, and kind of all the points you guys have brought up. There's such an established world here already that you're kind of let access to, and I think a lot of that is because you have such a lived-in world already, and it feels like something that's oddly enough very believable, and something that you would think is out there that you don't even think that would be realistic in the world, but it could be out there. It could be real. And one of the big things I've always liked about this movie is the action, like everybody, but like just the detail of action. Everything always feels so real. Everyone talks about like the actual, like, he's reloading weapons and stuff like that, as far as, just when everybody was first kind of talking about this film. But they really did take it to another level, and they really did make sure that, people knew that. To the point where they came out with like all the other videos of him like going through training camp.
Right.
And, and it's cool that, Keanu took it to that level too. Like, he was obviously very invested into, what this world was, and he made it very believable. But, yeah, man, it's the plot too. You get so bought into it, and it's easy for you to buy in, because if your significant other had just passed and you had just gotten this dog from them, after they had passed, and it's now the only thing that you have to hold on, and they destroyed your car, which in my world is blasphemy.
Truth.
Valid.
You'd want to go on a fucking rampage like this too. And I'd probably want to go on a rampage like this even if I didn't have the fucking skills that he has. I'd probably get fucking mollywopped like after that first crew came by. But like,
but you're going after it. It's a matter of principle, yeah.
I'm a man of sheer will.
Commitment.
Yeah. But it's cool, man. I always remembered like doing the research on like how much one of those gold coins costs. Like right up when the movie came out, I was like, how much money is that? Like, what's he shelling out for all this? How much money is that per body?
It's a varying level of really worth, isn't it? Because he'll pay someone a coin to take a body away, but also just pay someone for a drink with the coin. Right.
Yeah.
One of those takes a lot more effort than the other.
It's that whole kind of underground thing. I don't even know if it's underground because it's so. They have their own currency. They have their own places they can sleep. The world building is crazy. I mean, even like, I don't know. It's almost hard to gauge where it is at because like even like regular pedestrians like aren't really phased. There's like shooting going on at the club. And, like, some of the women are kind of like running around, but then like there's like the dance scene, which is fucking awesome on the actual dance floor.
Yeah.
But like he's just like shooting people, and people are just like looking at the guy get shot, and just like, all right, fuck it, we're just gonna still keep partying. So it's like it's really cool to kind of see that aspect of it, where it's hard to kind of blur the lines on some of that stuff. But I mean, I guess just the club scene in general is like I don't know, like 7 or 8 minutes long, but that scene is awesome.
Yeah, it's really,
and that's
really
like
good.
That's probably our second introduction to John Wick of him killing an enormous amount of people right in a short span. But the way he goes about it in that scene is so good. The cinematography in that scene is awesome. As I mentioned, the club scene where he's like chasing, I forgot the son's name. Is it
Joseph? Yeah.
Yeah. Where he's chasing him through like the dance floor is so good, man. And I love that scene, man. That entire 6 minute scene is like 6-7 minute scene is dope, man.
Yeah,
and shout out.
Oh, go ahead. No, go.
I was just gonna say really quick. Shout out Theon Greyjoy, Alfie, for being such like a wimpy like target. Like the whole movie, like you are never intimidated by him, and he's just like a little rat like running away in a towel and through a nightclub. It's just like
he just bosses around. His
A+
friends.
on his.
He plays like this weak ass punk kid so well.
Greech.
A+ on his towel tying skills. He wrapped that thing up and it did not drop the entire time he ran through that club.
Yeah, that was impressive. Yeah. But I mean, it's just kind of good. People are so aware of who John Wick is. They got that thing like fortified, right? John Wick sneaks his way in. The first kill we see there is like when he stabs the guy through the throat and he like stares him in the eyes as he stabs him.
Yeah.
Which just like lets you know that like, all right, this guy's unhinged. Like, you know what I mean? You obviously have an idea of that through conversations and exposition dumps, but that's when you're like, oh yeah, like this guy, he's seen countless of people die to be able to do something like that. He just goes off on a rampage. He even has the clear line of sight, a few minutes into that on Joseph where he's in the pool and he's like scared as shit, just like frozen. And he likes to like not even shoot him. He just shoots the guy in the ground and like stares at him. And that just kind of lets you know he's like, I'm gonna kill you first. I'm gonna kill everybody you fucking like, and then I'm gonna come get you. You know what I mean? It's good, man. He's cold blooded.
The first one's a lot funnier than I remember, and I feel like they kind of lost that a little bit. As there's a lot of really black comedy in this as well, like the bit where he goes and talks to the bouncer, and he's like, "Hey, Francis, are you working, Mr. Wick?" Afraid so. He took the rest of the night off, and like they talk about how he's lost a bunch of weight and everything like that as well too. There's just a lot of points in this where I think they were kind of fighting against that known action movie kind of expectations, which I think has gone away a little bit in the subsequent ones. They lean more into the world building, as we've kind of referenced a couple different times, and away from that kind of send up of the action genre in some ways.
Yeah. For sure. The to your point, it is very funny. And like the dialogue in this it's so spot on because sometimes it feels like things are just being like completely read off a script and like not necessarily acted. To your point, but like that just kind of makes it even better. Even like the police officer when he comes in and I think he's like, "Evening, John," and then it's like a long pause and it's like, evening, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Complaint. It's just like really weird. It's like that's not how people normally talk to each other. You know what I mean? But that's like part of the world building. Like everything is so like eerie and stuff. You know, and it's good. The dialogue on this is funny alone.
It is fairly. I mean, it's really well written. Just as far as like the world building stuff and how the story's set up, and then the character building with John Wick, the mythos. It is very well written, and even the dialogue too. Like, yeah, all around very solid. I don't think this movie is what it is because, well, a lot of things come together and make it very good, but the writing and the action directing are what make this movie, in my opinion.
To the Wire vets for me and Blake there as well. We got Lance Reddick and was it Clark Duncan as was it Henry or the old time assassin as well too in the hotel.
Yep. Good catch, Nathaniel. I was going to bring that up. While we kind of got you here and we're just kind of rambling, I have to bring it up just because, and this may even be something we've discussed in the store before, but just off being a huge fan of like Kill Bill and things of that nature. What are we taking here? Are we taking John Wick or are we taking The Bride?
Ooh. The Bride. Tough. The Bride has just like comic book levels of weird strength and like survivability.
Sure. Yeah.
Coincidentally, actually, the YouTube channel Death Battle just did a John Wick versus James Bond as well too, which I watched the other day.
Do they have The Bride on there, or not? They could also go by Beatrix.
No, they don't have her on there yet. Okay. But yeah, that was kind of a new one for them as well too. But I think I'm going The Bride on that one.
I think I'm with you.
Ty?
I don't know. That's like a really tough call.
John Wick has a more varied arsenal, but I feel like The Bride is more
really good with guns.
Deadly, yeah.
Yeah, that's so hard. We'll go with The Bride. If you gun to your head, gun to your balls.
And I got one to protect me.
You almost have to. You got to put money on The Bride. I feel like you have to.
Just rip your eyeball out. Just with. Just
that was gonna say, like, we've seen her fucking eyeball out. We've seen her did like the 1 inch punch her way out of a fucking buried coffin. You know what I mean? Like she
purple nurpled a guy to death where he walked 5 steps and then he died. You know, like
yeah. Adam, who are you taking? Obviously, you're a huge John Wick fan. You thinking John Wick can take The Bride?
I think you have to say The Bride, but I don't think it's an unwinnable fight for John Wick.
Okay.
I'll buy that.
I don't think it's unwinnable.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be a landslide. You know?
Yeah.
Okay. They're taking lumps off each other.
Bulletproof.
Yeah.
So I guess if he's aware of where she is, I mean, I guess you'd probably have to take him because he's obviously, I think his preferred weapon is probably a pistol or something of that nature, right?
Yeah. Also, he uses a lot more guns than she does.
Right. Exactly.
So that's the other thing is if she only has her sword. But I don't know. But
it's a Hattori Hanzo.
Yeah. That katana was also forged by I forgot the guy's name.
Yeah, some ancient guy. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So.
Just curious. But yeah, anyway, John Wick.
Favorite action sequence in this one?
It's gotta be
the club scene.
I was gonna say I know most people are probably gonna be the club scene. I think I'm actually the first set of guys that come to his house.
First break-in.
When he gets his ass kicked, or the one where he wins?
No, where he wins, where they send the fleet of guys. I think you get a little bit more of a wide variety of his skills, kind of like right off the bat. You get to see his gun skills, which are just impeccable. You get to see a little bit more of the hand-to-hand stuff. And then when the very last kill, he's got the guy with the knife, and then he kind of flips him over, and then he has to like constantly struggle, and then you finally see him, and it's not just like he plunges the knife into him and it's done. It's the guy's obviously trying to force back, so he punches it down, stabs him, punches him down again, stabs him, punches him down again, stabs again, and then holds it in there. And it's very it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier. It's very different to kill somebody with a knife, and just to be able to like sit there and stare at them while they're dying. Like he didn't look away, he didn't like wince. Like he looked at that person in his eyes and said, "You're in my fucking house. You're trying to hurt me, and I know what you're doing here. I'm just gonna put you night night." Doesn't hesitate, and it sets the tone for like what kind of shit he's been through, and how vicious he's willing to be. And I'm like, yo, like after that scene, I was like, we're in for a treat.
Yeah, I think that's the scene that cuts right after Viggo's explaining it, right? Isn't that the scene right after that?
Yeah.
When he's like, yeah, he's the man you send to kill the boogeyman, XYZ, and then it cuts to those people breaking in his house.
Yep.
Yeah.
That also has where the guy's head is on the kitchen counter.
The
and
counter
breaks the guy's neck over the counter as well.
It down with
fucking brutal.
Yeah. I'm gonna say the just for point of difference, the warehouse scene at the end when he's going after Yosef and
he finally gets him.
Yeah, well, he's like on the phone with him too, and he's just picking off the guys like one by one, basically, until he's nothing left, and then obviously he goes and gets him down. But yeah, I
fucking domes his boy in slow motion.
Yeah, while he's playing Xbox, as we all want to go, obviously.
That's the cream team dream.
Yeah, just you're in the game and then you're not.
Yeah, you're not. Is that a simulation reference?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
But anyways, John Wick's good. I'm glad it got a sequel, even though, we'll see. But I'm interested to see where the fourth one goes. I hope they can keep it going.
Yeah.
I have faith.
The second one
they haven't let me down so far, man.
Yeah, the second one was actually good. I had a fun time watching the second one.
3 is good.
By the time I watched the third time, maybe I just watched too much John Wick in a short span, right? Like I may have just like overloaded my John Wick senses. But I was just like, oh man, I just don't care to continue watching this. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah, I think that's you probably burned yourself out.
I agree. Burned myself out, yeah. But yeah, overall, man, I love this movie. I had so much fun watching the first one. To be honest, as soon as he explained who John Wick was again, I was like, "Yep, this is why I like this movie," and it kicked it off. So,
yeah. Well, we ready to rank?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment of the podcast. We're going to go ahead and rank John Wick up upon the Entropy list. For those of you who do not know, the Entropy list is Back Row Banter's official list of every movie we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastic list. It's essentially how we rate our movies rather than do it out of 5 stars, out of 10, whatever it is. We throw up all the movies we review on a list and see how they compare to one another. If you'd like to reference the Entropy list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description, where it is linked to my Letterboxd. Okay. I was taking a look at this
tough one
while we were talking. Yeah, it is a tough one.
You want to rip first? Go ahead. Yeah, it's one of your favorites.
It is, and I just don't know how this is going to play out with the squadron here. I don't think this is like that egregious. I'm gonna put it at 29, below Training Day and above The Northman. I don't think that's that far out there because I can't put it above Training Day. That's a top tier movie. But I look at The Northman, Black Hawk Down, Conjuring, Nope, Scream, like obviously all fucking fantastic. But like The Northman is the one that does it for me, where I'm like, I enjoyed The Northman, but like it's John Wick. Like obviously, Entropy List is a symptom of where you're comparing two very different movies, and those are two very different movies. But I can't put it really much above Training Day or Kill Bill, and I do enjoy this. I enjoy it more than The Northman, Black Hawk Down, and The Conjuring as like viewing experiences. And there's enough of like good storytelling and good movie making in this movie for me to justify putting it above those 3. So 29.
I like it. I think I'll probably rock out with you at 29, to be honest with you. When I was looking at this, the first thing I looked at was like, where's Kill Bill? And this guy just can't put it above Kill Bill, right?
Yeah,
that was just kind of the rule I gave myself. Then I saw Training Day behind that, and I was like, I do like Training Day a lot, though. Yeah. So that was kind of another one. So yeah, I think I'll rock out with you there. It's too much to put it behind Kill Bill Volume 2. because there's just too many movies in there that I like. Doctor Strange, Shang-Chi, things of that nature. I can't put those above this. So I'm rocking out 29.
Yeah.
Adam Ty, or excuse me, Nathaniel Ty.
I am going to be a little bit lower, not by a ton. But I think I'm going to actually be at 32, just above Nope and below The Conjuring.
32.
Black Hawk Down is just one of the greats as far as, it's still action. Obviously, it's technically, a military movie, a war movie or whatever, but obviously a lot of action in there. And The Conjuring was just kind of like one of the first of its kind. And, this is still really, really good. And the replay value on this movie is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
But just standalone, like if I watched them both for the first time, like consecutively, I think The Conjuring would just do a little bit more for me from a film standpoint. And it's very hard for me to keep like Nope under this, but Nope still has like this place in my mind where it's like, I don't know if I like it as much as I initially did. I got to rewatch it.
Yeah.
I still like it a lot, but I just haven't seen it enough.
Yeah.
So and like Blake said, it's definitely better than, the Doctor Stranges and the Shang-Chi's and the Suicide Squads, even though those are pretty good. But I'd also put like Pig or, like Bullet Train is really close to this too, but I think there's just too much in between. So I'm going to stick pretty hard on I'm gonna be at 32, just below The Conjuring.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. You're preaching pretty good. Then also, I glanced and totally forgot Scream is in there at 33.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna let Nathaniel go, so he's get his shine. But yeah, that off Tyler speaking, and then me kind of re-glancing at this, I may have to. Consider, fellas. Yeah,
it's funny. It's funny you bring that up, Blake, because I'm actually going to go at 34, right below Scream. For all the reasons that Tyler listed above, I actually went a very similar route to him. And just when I saw Nope there and I saw Scream underneath it, I was like, you know what? Can't have it below Scream personally. So that was a little bit of a personal push there. But yeah, I'll have it at 34, above Boys in the Hood and below Scream.
Yeah.
I will say though, Blake, like you guys had me up there with you as well too. It wasn't until I saw Scream that like my mind switched there as well, because I was with you guys up until for a little bit there, but Tyler spoke some sense into me, I think, a little bit.
Yeah. So you're 34 then, Nathaniel?
I'm 34.
I may have spoke too soon after hearing Tyler get up here and preach. My good brother, and then seeing Scream on there, I think I got to go 34. I just can't put this above Scream. That's like a DNA movie for me. We kind of reference those types of movies every time we do this entropy list, and like that's one of my favorite movies all time. So
very, very true. Very valid. So 234 is a 32 and a 26, or 29. I was 29.
I was gonna say 26.
29.
Yeah, it would be right above Kill Bill.
He's trying to skew.
I ain't trying to do that.
We might have to ban
that means we have to tie break it with a film called Nope. Do we want to put it above or below Nope before we look at the tie break?
Tie break it. Actually, that might be really close on IMDb, to be completely honest with you.
It is. Does anyone feel strongly one way or the other? I wouldn't mind putting it above Nope, but we can just tie break.
I initially voted for above Nope, so I'm okay with putting it above Nope.
Yeah, I mean, considering it's already above Scream, you know what I mean? And like that was kind of my whole point.
It's going to be above Scream anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. So considering it's already above that, I'm fine with putting it above.
Doesn't matter. The John Wick's got a 7.4, Nope's got a 7.
Yeah,
so.
it doesn't matter either way, but
cool.
All right, John Wick locked in at 32, below The Conjuring, and above Nope.
Cool.
Next week's review, Nathaniel.
What is next week?
It's a little film called
For the Florence
3
joint,
weeks,
right?
2 days.
Oh,
it's
not
Florence.
Oh boy.
Sorry, fellas. I jumped ahead of my apologies.
Yeah, I got a little overzealous there. No, it's 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days. Nathaniel, can you tell us at least a little bit about this movie, or you said it's one that you don't want to know anything about?
Yeah, I don't want you guys to know too much about it, but I'll say it centers on two college friends in Romania in the 80s, and one of them is pregnant, and it's about the next 48 hours or so in their lives as they kind of try and figure out what they're going to do next, and goes with that. I think it's I described this a lot as the movie that just kind of like gripped me and didn't let me go for a while in college. It was one that I didn't have a very good understanding of or any knowledge of going in prior to, but I thought it was definitely one of those eye-opening movies to me where it was like, here's a micro-budget movie with an incredible story that really anyone can make, and is a great example of why world cinema is important. And so I don't know, a bit of an arty one to finish us off with the end of the summer, but I'll be very interested what everyone's kind of opinions are here when we come back to it, and kind of what everyone's kind of experiences are within the movie itself.
Sure. Well, that is streaming on AMC Plus, the Criterion Channel, and Canopy if you have it. But if not, it's like a $4.99 or $3.99 rental anywhere else, pretty much. So,
I will check for the boys if my copy came with a digital copy, and I will find that out for you as well too, if it's on my Vudu or not. Or
all right, let us know.
I may have two copies.
I was like, it may be worth a copy if you got one. So
want to ship it down to me?
Updated. I'll keep you updated on that.
All right. Hello, listeners. It's your favorite host, Post Pod Adam, coming at you here, Post Pod. We decided after the podcast stopped recording that we're actually not going to go ahead and do 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days, but instead do a film called Coherence that we've been, or at least Nathaniel and Blake have been big fan of as of late. We just decided not to do 4 weeks, that movie, because Nathaniel was just like, I don't know if everyone's going to like it, but instead I'm going to try to watch it. And then we're thinking maybe we do a one-off bit of sizzle episode where maybe the two of us talk about it, because he seemed really excited about it. So we might be doing that later down the road at some point in the next coming weeks. But instead, we're going to do Coherence for next week's review, which is currently streaming on Amazon Prime. Don't let me confuse you later on in the pod as we're signing off. I do again say 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days, because that's what I thought we were doing. But no, we're not doing that. We're doing Coherence. So go ahead, watch that on Amazon Prime, and join us for a review of that next week. 5-star review, Nathaniel?
No 5-star review this week, but if you want to give us a 5-star review, you can do it in-app and Apple Podcasts, and we will read it out on the podcast. It's one of the ways we get noticed, we get mentioned, we get thrust into the algorithm, and more people can find us, so we'd really appreciate that. But like I said, if you give us a 5-star review, we will read it out here. You can be nice, you can be mean, you can be funny, you can be whatever you want, just don't be evil, and you'll get to hear one of us read it out. Adam, emails.
No emails. But if you want to send us one, you can do so by sending us a message to backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. Any questions, comments, concerns, grievances, anything of that sort. You can also share the podcast, share with a friend, a family member, maybe a retired assassin just sitting around, spending his time with his wife, and his, maybe he's got a dog too. You never know. Follow the podcast. You can do so on Twitter at Banter Row, on Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod, and our YouTube. It's just Back Row Banter. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Yo, Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. You can find me on there and logging things, rating things out of 5 stars. No personal thoughts on John Wick this week, but awesome movie. That's all I got. We'll pass it over to Nathaniel.
You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at.and. You can find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. Sandpiper Tapes is the other podcast. And yeah, Tyler?
Twitch.tv/UltraBajo87. Twitter, Letterboxd, and Instagram, all Tyler Vidalis.
Well, I think that'll do it. I have to share mine. I'm on Letterboxd at Aish, and on Twitter at Aish24, and on Twitch, where I was live for the first time in quite a while the other night at twitch.tv/Aish. I found a team for HCS Orlando, and I'm probably going to Orlando to play Halo.
Cool, man.
Nice.
Hey.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. I just need Dan to get back to me on whether he's actually gonna pay for my flights or not, like he said he would multiple times. So waiting to hear back. But
Sure.
yeah, he's a busy man. I'm not too worried about it. And if not, I'll figure out a way to get out there. But yeah, I've got my hotel covered, and my teammate has an org that's covering Team Pass. So hopefully trying to get out there. That's in about 2 weeks, so it's coming up quick. Anyway, that'll do it for episode 117, the Master Chief episode. If you know, you know. Thank you guys for joining us for our review of John Wick. Join us next week for our review of 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days, and we'll BRB.
Be excellent to each other, everyone, and we will BRB.
Thanks for stopping by and taking a listen and helping us grow. We appreciate you greatly. And just be good to one another. You never know where someone else is at in their journey in that day, their life. And we'll BRB.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for the support as always. Without you all, we would not have a podcast. As we always say, as long as you're doing at least one thing you love every day, then I would say you're living the right way. We'll BRB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
Dude, I knew a guy that had a fucking alligator, like a baby alligator in his fucking house.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
That guy's tapped in for sure. The thing with snakes, though, and even just, I guess, yeah, snakes and alligators, well, to that point, is just like the live feeding, which technically you don't have to live feed them.
Right.
But it's just like, I don't think I really care for that. You know what I mean?
Did you guys ever have a biology class or whatever in like middle school that had a snake in it or whatever, or any sort of wild pet?
Yeah, we had do we have a rabbit or something like that in one of my classes? Never had the snake pet though. Did you had a snake pet?
I think ours was a tarantula.
Oh my god, I'm terrified.
I had a tarantula pet in like the 5th grade. My teacher had it.
Did you ever touch it?
No, God no.
Yeah. Dude, I used to be like, I was never diagnosed with arachnophobia, but I could probably promise you I had that until about probably freshman, sophomore year of college, where I like had to kind of get over the fear because like nobody else would kill the spiders for me. Myself. And like that was the age where like your friends like assholes too. Like I couldn't ask my roommate to kill a spider for me.
100%.
Fuck you, you kill yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is a valid point.
He'd be like, are you fucking kidding me?
Exactly, right. So that's when I kind of got over it. But before that, dude, like middle school, high school, I couldn't even like look at a picture of a spider on a page and like put my hand on the page and turn it.
So if you
was terrified.
If you like are in your house and you walk in and see one on the floor, are you just like immediately walking away from it now still, or do you still get that like immediate like, oh god?
Yeah, it's still kind of like, oh, that's nasty. But like I'm able to overcome that like right away.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Do you think is there a size limit on that? Like, what if a spider is so big, like you can't kill it and you have to like call someone?
Oh yeah, they're definitely. I couldn't tell you what that size limit is. You know what I mean? But
it's kind of a case by case.
Yeah. I don't think I crossed that size limit living in Illinois though. That's just kind of like the logical answer.
You'd be surprised.
You know,
I've seen some big spiders in my house. Yeah. Some big spiders.
It's when you can hear them. Like
that's
okay, now that's different.
But that's why like I could never go to Australia. Like you know what I mean? Like I would love to go to Australia too.
Realistically,
awesome
I don't know.
I know I cannot handle that because I can't see like a bird-eating spider. I can't see.
Oh, you guys would be fine.
I can't see that stuff. You know what I mean? I would go fucking insane if I saw that shit.
I agree with you. I don't think
those things are like the size of like the laptop screen.
Yeah, man.
It's like that. It's like I know I can't handle that.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. 6 legs is where I cut you off. All right. I'm cool with insects. Insects, we're good. You get over 6 legs, and then I go no, thank you.
I almost don't even like insects to be honest with you, but I'm able to deal with it.
They're cool, man.
Bugs are just fucking cool.
I feel like if I was in my house, I'd be more freaked out by like a Jerusalem beetle walking across the floor than like a regular spider.
Sure.
Partially because I'd be like, what the hell is that thing doing here? But also because like they just look freakier, I think.
No, there's nothing freakier than a spider. It just
what about like scorpions? You never come across like a scorpion in your house?
I think scorpions look dope. I mean, don't live in Arizona, so I haven't really come across a scorpion in the wild in that sense. So I don't know how I'd react. Maybe I'd freak the fuck out. I think they look cool though. The spiders, there's nothing appealing to me about spiders. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
dope.
I'm with you,
Scorpion-wise, never came across one. I was actually like, not paranoid, but on caution when I went to Phoenix last year. I was like, I wonder if I'll see a scorpion. And like the nature side in me is like, it'd be really cool to see. But it's like, I don't know if I'd be able to like kill that thing if it was like within.
Oh no, you got to. What you got to do is you got to go out to the desert and get a black light, and then just go out into the desert with a black light and go scorp hunting.
Yeah, are they easy to come across? Like
Yeah,
I'm sure you came
enough.
across them as a child, right?
Scorp hunting.
My family's house was like bombarded with scorpions when we first were growing up there. They used our house for like the training ground for like all of the new recruits to like the bug control company, the insect control company. Like,
Sure. Yeah, they're like, all right, newbie, send them over to the fucking
like they're like we're gonna seal up your house like completely. It's like a full on like a whole day thing, almost like a custom like Magnolia type deal. And we were like, wow, that sounds expensive. And they're like, well, it is, but what we can do is like we can use this as an opportunity to train all the new guys how to do this type of work, this type of job, and we can cut you a deal on it for that. And so we did that, and then after that we didn't really have them in the house. But yeah, we had 40 scorpions in our house the first year we lived in it.
I'm moving.
We kept them in a jar in the garage whenever we'd find them. They were like in the light fixtures. They would like come up out of the sink. You would
Ew, yeah, dude, I couldn't do it.
It was they told us to get a gecko and let it go in the house because it would hunt the scorpions naturally. And then like our cat would find them.
I wouldn't guess that geckos eat them.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah. Yeah, geckos can take on scorpions. And
if I lived in Arizona, I'd have like 4 geckos. Just on the ready.
I like lizards though. I am interested in lizards, to be honest with you. That'd be cool to see.
Rule of thumb with the scorpion is the bigger it is, the less dangerous it is. So
really, okay. I'm still stomping on it regardless, or running the other way. Or you can't stomp on them.
I feel like the crunch on that is nuts. I'm sure you can if you put enough force on it.
Yeah, you can stomp on them. That's fine. Okay. Most of the ones that you see in Arizona are bark scorpions. They're about this big. And listeners,
they good or bad?
They're the venomous ones. There's the ones you want to watch out for. Okay. So our house was crazy. We would do like before we would go to bed, we would like check all of our sheets and like behind our bed and everything like that because they like to get into places where it's like in between fabrics or like in shoes or stuff like that. So like my dad, when he got stung, he was sleeping and he rolled his hand over and put his hand on the scorpion because it was on the pillow next to him. But yeah.
How poisonous are they?
If you're allergic, you'll die. But if you're
you know, if you're allergic, you just kind of find out one day.
Yeah, that's why if you do get stung, you typically call like an ambulance and at least check it out or walk you through it. But they like for a normal person, it'll sting and then it'll hurt and then whatever limb you got it on, it'll go numb for about 6 to 8 hours, and then you'll be fine the next day.
Jesus. I'm glad I don't live in Arizona.
No, that's fine. You get used to them.
I'm sure.
It's like a bee to them.
Sure.
For sure, yeah. It's just part of life.
Bees there too, though.
Yeah, but not as many. We don't have mosquitoes, which is nice.
Yeah, that is annoying.
Yeah, mosquitoes definitely a bottom tier species, in my opinion.
The worst. Like they don't have a purpose.
Just worthless.
Gotta be.
Even like a fly at least like eats dead things, you know? brings that out back into the world or whatever. Mosquitoes just do nothing besides propagate, and that's it, I think, right?
Spread disease.
Oh yeah, there's that. But I feel like we should.
Is malaria through mosquitoes?
Yeah. That's the big one.
Right. Obviously, it's more common in like Africa and
mosquitoes
Asia.
should be the species we harness and like start putting the vaccines in mosquitoes. There we go, guys. That's my plan for socialized medicine.
Just spread the vaccine.
Yeah.
Or just anything, that we need. Like we got a bad flu this year, put it in the mosquitoes. Some people need more vitamin D, put it in the mosquitoes.
Maybe they already do that.
Oh, here we go. Let me get my tinfoil hat out, folks.